All right, friends, inside this video topic, again we'll discuss some more basics of React, and that is what is and how we use the concept of use navigate, use params, and local storage inside a React application. Let's go back to editor. Let's open a new tab. So here, first I will use the concept of use navigate. The name itself clears that, for example, if we want to navigate from one page to another page, so in this case, we have to use the concept of use navigate. Then we will see what is the use of use params. Again, the name itself clears that in case if we want to read some parameter values from URL, so in that case, we have to use the concept of use params. And finally, we'll discuss the concept of local storage. And by using local storage, we can simply put or store some values locally to browsers. Now let's get started to see some examples of use navigate, use params, and obviously of local storage. So first thing first, I will go back to browser. So inside last video topics, this is the page what we had created with all these menu items. So here we have about us, products, services, contact us, and student form. So let's say that we are on the services page, and inside this page here we have button and something called back to about us page. So whenever if I click on that button simply will redirect from services to about us page. So here we have the concept of redirection. So this case will be handled by using use navigate. So first thing first, I'll go into the services component. Let's go inside src components, not components, pages, and then I will open services.jsx. And here, let's create a button. So button, back to about us page. And here, let's pass on click event. So on click, and here, let's say back to about us page. Simply, if I will copy, go here, let's say const function. And inside this function, simply we have to redirect from services to about us page. So for that, we'll use the concept of use navigate. So const navigate, navigate, and here use navigate. Now this will come from React Router DOM, what we had installed inside our last video topics. So let's copy this navigate, then go here and simply we want to go from services to about us page. So inside this navigate, just pass the path of about us. Save these changes. So if I go, let's reload. Here we have the button called back to about us page. So if I click, and now we can see that here we have the about us path, and here we are on the about us page. So Saksa, this is the simplest example. By the help of that, we can understand the concept of use navigate. Now, next after this, we'll discuss the concept of use params. The name itself clears if we want to get some properties from URL. So in that case, we have to use the concept of use params. Let's click on this products menu. So we can see that right now we have a plain URL that is localhost forward slash and products. But in case, if suppose I will pass some value, say 50, which is a product ID. Now the question is how to pass this value and how to get this value inside this products component. Right now, if I go and hit enter, this is not going to work because right now the route of this product is not configured to handle this parameter into this URL. Let's go to editor. So first I will go and open navbar.jsx, and here inside this product, let's pass 50 as a static value, which is a product ID. Now this value we have to get inside product component. So what we have to do now, next we have to go inside app component. Inside this route set, here we have the route of product. Now here, as we know that now in this case, we are passing some value, some dynamic value, which we have to get that value and pass inside this products component. So here first, go inside this path attribute. So forward slash. Now this time we have some ID. So just define a placeholder. So colon and ID. So ID is nothing. It's a placeholder which gets the value that is of 50. Now next, and one more thing, that this is not specific. If you want something product ID, it is also okay because this is only a placeholder. Now next, let's open this product component. So I will go and open product component. Now in this component, I want to get the product ID. So simply let's say const, let's say parameter values equals to, and I will use params. Look at here that use params is coming from React Router DOM. And here for the time being, let's say console.log, and here let's say parameter values. Save these changes. So if I go, now you can see that product component is now working with this 50 ID, and into this console tab here, if I go and reload, and now we can see that here we have an object, and inside this object here we have property called product ID, which is containing a value, and that is equals to 50. Now, if we want to get this value, it's very simple. Either we can put product values dot product ID. If I save these changes, and if I go and reload, and now we can see 50, which is the product ID. One more thing also we can do, instead of parameter values, simply we can use the concept of D structure. So this is the ID, this is the property what we are getting inside object. So let's copy, put it here, and simply instead of parameter values, one more parameter, simply product ID. We are directly accessing that object. Save these changes, and now we can see 50 and 50. So it's really amazing that by using use params, what the parameter we pass into URL, simply we can get into our components. Let's try one more case. So inside this navbar, if I pass one more ID, something called 100, now this is the value also we have to get. Go inside app.jsx, and here forward slash, the second placeholder is something called ID. Let's go inside products, and again, if I go, let's say params, and if I let's say console.log params, and if I reload, let's pass one more parameter, something called 100, and now we can see that into product ID, here we have the 50 and 100. Here we have two placeholders like product ID and ID. So how to get these values? It's really very simple by using the concept of D structure. So simply product ID, this is our first segment, and second placeholder, which is ID. So product ID and ID. Save these changes. If I go and reload, and now we can see that 50 and 100. So this is the use of use params to get and read all the parameters from URL into any of the components. And finally, I will discuss one more concept into this video topic, and that is about local storage. As I told you that by using the concept of local storage, we can store any value locally to browsers. So what I will do, let's go back to browser, click on this about us. So let's say that inside this about us, I will create two buttons, and by the help of first button, I will store, let's say, any value locally to browser, and by using the click event of second button, simply we have to read that local value from the browser. So I will go and let's open, and one more thing, whenever if I store any value locally by using local storage, it will go to browsers. Let's go inside application, and by using local storage, what the value we store, it will go inside this local storage. Right now we can see that we don't have any value, but whenever if I store any value, it will go inside this application tab, inside this storage, inside this local storage, and inside this local storage, on the basis of this application URL, it stores the value. Now let's create some local variables. So I will go here, let's open about us component, and here I'll create two buttons. So first one will be, let's say, store local value, and the second button will be, let's say, get local value. Let's put some click events. So on click, let's say save local value, and here let's say on click, and here let's say get local value. So I will copy this function name, then I will go here, let's say const function name arrow function, and here simply let's say const, or I will call it as, let's say, let. For example, I want to store the channel name into local, like locally, so name equals to, or even I will call it as, let's say, channel name equals to online web tutor, and here let's say local storage. dot set item. It's a method, and here we have to pass two values into this method. First will be our key, like in that key we have to store our local value. So here it's a channel name, and here we have the value called channel name. So simply by click event of this button called store local value, now this is the value we are storing locally to browser with this key name. So if I save these changes, let's go back to browser. And here I think we have some error. Let's go to console tab and get local. Okay, this function actually we didn't define. Let's copy, go here, let's say const function name. And for the time being, it's empty. Save these changes. Let's reload. And if I open here, let's go to our application tab, go to local storage. So right now we can see that we don't have any value right here inside this area. Now let's click on this button, store local value. So whenever if I click on this button, and now we can see that inside this local storage, here we have the first local value called online web tutor with this local key name that is called channel underscore name. Now let's handle this get local value. It means whenever if I click on this button, simply it will get that value and read inside this web page. So what I will do, I'll go here inside this get local value method. Let's say that local storage dot get item, and here inside this get item method, simply we have to pass the key name. And one more thing, let's define a state here. So const, let's say local value, set local value, set local value, and initially it's a use state. It will contain an empty value. So let's copy this state manager, and here save local value. While getting that value, simply let's say set local value, and in this set local value, let's say let value equals to local storage dot get item, and here this is the value. It means this is only for the store purpose. So whenever if I try to get the local value after get, simply we are setting that value to our state variable. And let's copy this local value, and here simply print inside this h2 tag curly pairs and local value. Save all these changes. Now if I reload this page, so here first I will go and delete this, let's say our local value. Click on this button to store that value successfully. Here we have the value. Click on this get a local value, and now we can see that successfully this local value now we have read into a state variable. Now let's create one more button. So whenever if we click on that button, it will simply remove our local value from this local storage. What I will do, let's go here and let's create our third button that is called remove local value. And here let's say on click, let's say remove local value, copy this function name. Then I will go here, let's say const function name, and simply let's say local storage dot remove item, and inside this simply we have to pass the key name. So this is the key name called channel name. So by using this remove item, simply this key will be removed from local storage. But one more thing, also we have to update the state variable, because state variable is actually setting with this value what we have stored right here. So let's copy this state manager. So set local value, and after remove, it will contain an empty value. Save these changes. So if I go, let's remove one more time. I will go and delete this. So simply select, click on delete button, delete it. So I am clicking on this button. We have the local value. Here we have the local value. If I click on this button and successfully, now local value has been removed. So successfully, now by the help of this video, now we have completed one more basics concept of React, and that is what is the use of use navigate, use params, and the concept of local storage. so successfully. Now by the help of this video, now we have completed overall the complete basics of React, so that these basics really very helpful to complete this interesting journey where we'll create a complete project of headless store by using React and WooCommerce APIs. So this was our last video to go and see the basics of React. Now from the next video, we'll start the journey over creating our project that is of headless store using React and WooCommerce APIs. So for this interesting course, interesting video, please hit the like button to like this video, subscribe to this channel. Now let's meet to our next amazing video. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.